Hello, quilt people and seekers of the world. How are you? I'm doing great. Happy to be back. It is, almost end of summer. Like our trees are starting to turn and it's like, okay, fall is here, even though it isn't quite yet September. So anyhow, here we are. Welcome. Happy to be here. Talk about today's topic, the great undoing. Does it have to be? Does that sound fun? Oh, the primary bullet point on the sheet is ego death. Oh, ego death. Yes, ego death. So, where I am in the work right now is not exactly always joyful, right? Because this process requires us to ultimately unshackle ourselves from the weight of our own opinions. That is the great undoing. To unburden ourselves from ego, from attack thoughts, from that which separates us from others. Because there's two natural states, right? The state of separation of ego, or the state of unity, right? Which is we are all one. There is no bad guy, right? There's just people, right? Loving people. And people are either loving or unloving. And the unloving just need to be taught better, not punished, right? And so that's the main difference. So for me, what does ego death look like? Well, it's looked like a lot of pain. And that's the thing about this process. Like, as you go through and unpack your mind and unpack all of your limiting beliefs and unpack everything that is the stuff behind the stuff. Why am I feeling that way? What's making me feel that way, right? And continuing to chase layer after layer, right? What is your mind and what is you and what is not you? The great undoing is removing the layer that is not you. However, we haven't been always taught or given great examples of what is you, right? Because everybody's running around functioning from the state of lack, fear, and ego. Turn on the news. That's all it is. It's story, right? He did this, she did that. Everything that's not attached to the present, current, conscious moment, right? That's story and ego. They did this, they did that, right? That whole story paradigm has to go. The whole timeline has to go, right? Like I've said in so many videos before, the past and the future are far off distant lands that no one has ever visited. It does not exist. And the primary thing that we're working against in this work is separating ourselves from the untrue, the unreal, illusion. Anything that's happened in the past is illusion. Anything that has yet to happen in the future is illusion. Illusion is the number one enemy of the work, nothing else. So in ego death, it really started just by me unpacking and realizing that I was kind of completely alone in this process, right? After making and gifting probably hundreds of quilts for 30 years, and then to sit there at the book launch of my own personal story and sit there alone and not have one person show up for me. Not one person in my world wanted to know my story. Because trust me, you do not know me until you've read my books, right? So that was super painful, right? Like not one person in my world wanted to know my story. And I believed in what I was doing so much that I bankrupted my family pretty much in order to make these books come to life. So that was kind of the first major hatchet wound to my ego, right? It was like, nobody cares. Like, nobody's showing up. Everyone's just going to take my quilts and say, oh, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, bye, good luck with everything. I have absolutely nothing for you. it's the heartbreak and pain that came along with that was also what was required in order to fix my vision of who was in my life, right? Because I just had old relationships from in the past, and they were just people I knew, but they weren't really friends anymore, not the kind of friends who would ever show up for anything, right? So I had to let all that go. I had to let it all go, right? Because I'm no longer available for relationships that are unable to pour into my cup in the same way that I pour into theirs. And so I'm like, okay, I need to go sit by myself for a while because these relationships are dead. There was nothing there. I couldn't even get one person to ask me what my books were about. It was so isolating to not only deal with, my neurological movement disorder, which is just a whole bucket of struggle in and of itself, but between writing the books and not being well, like the people in my life just didn't know how to handle me in that light. Like they had no words, they didn't know what to say, so they said nothing, right? Trust me, if there's someone in your world who just choreographed a ballet or who just wrote a book or who just did something really impressive, right? All they want is you to just show up. Just show up. Just show up and say, hey, good job. I like it. Awesome, right? But in this day and age where we're all being oversold and overused and over-leveraged by everyone in our life who's trying to get something, right? And trying to sell something and trying to move their life forward. Like we're all just maxed out, right? Totally maxed out, and I get it. I've been there as well. But you do need that small circle of friends who, no matter what you're doing, still show up. And I don't have that. And that was the lesson. So I started to embark on a new journey, right? A journey for me. A journey that's focused all my magic. Look how much magic I have. Right? And I was focusing all that magic on others. I was focusing on giving that magic away in the form of gifts, right? I was focused on trying to make others' lives better, and I wasn't focused enough on making my life better. And that was, for me, part of the great undoing, right? All those relationships went away. Because I just got really clear on what I need in my life moving forward, and it's not people who just hang out on the periphery and just take with absolutely nothing to offer me in exchange. It's crazy how difficult it is for people just to say, oh, you're writing a book? What's it about? Not one person held any curiosity about what I was doing, despite having spent months and months and months sewing and making gifts for these people, and they had nothing for me. Okay, moving on. That's part of the great undoing. That's part of ego death, is starting to look with new eyes at those in your life. And it wasn't a match anymore, right? Because I needed help. I needed support. I mean, just going through the process of becoming a disabled person, like from being a really high performing athlete, was just more than I could handle, right? And that's why I ultimately started writing the books, is because it gave me a place to process all that. And it really helped me by putting my problems on a fictional character and then solving their problems from kind of an arm's length transaction. That gave me a lot of clarity, and it really helped me through my process. And my hope was that all the learning that I did through that process of ultimately curing myself from the incurable, right? Curing myself from the incurable, I wanted to leave little breadcrumbs along the trail, right? So that if others wanted to do the same and understand the power found in energy work, that they could come along too, right? That I wanted to help others by showing them all that I had learned in the process. So Luckily, my books are really good and they sell super well with people I don't know. And I'm a best-selling author several times over on Amazon, and I'm living my best life, and I'm cashing checks every single month from Amazon. They send me money from the residuals of the sales that I've made online, right? I'm living the dream. And sure, while it was really heartbreaking that no one in my life could come along on the journey, that nobody had any curiosity about what it was that I was doing, that nobody could just encourage me in the littlest, smallest way. It was just this wall of silence that ultimately I couldn't deal with. But that wall of silence, weirdly, led me to what? Led me to peace. Led me to peace. How peaceful of a being have I been in the past? Not at all. Ooh, chaos. Ooh, judgment. Oh, opinions. And it was ultimately through that process that I had to unshackle myself from the weight of my own opinions. You're unhappy because of your thoughts. You're unhappy because of the weight and burden of your own opinions. Opinions that are rooted in complaint and attack thoughts. Attack thoughts are the first thing to let go. Monitor your mind. Watch when you go into attacking somebody or being dissatisfied or having a complaint against someone or having an opinion. All of those have to go if you're serious about seeking inner peace. I finally have a handle on my own personal toxicity. It's taken me years. And, like I say, go back and watch my old videos, right? I mean, I'm angry, right? I'm judgmental. I'm opinionated, right? And I'm frustrated, right? Why? Because they're not doing it right. They're doing it wrong. Oh, but what they're doing has nothing to do with me. That's them. This is me. To individuate, right? To find a sense of sovereignty from you and others, and see all this air right here between you and others. That's where the peace comes in. Ultimately, I had to learn that nobody and no thing is worth the cost of my peace. I do not care. I have liberated myself from the weight of my own opinions. The world can be crazy. It is crazy. Right? And it will always be crazy. Why? Because we're all, right, seeking higher consciousness. It's just we're not all at the top, because that's not how any of that works. At least not yet. But we're getting there. And it's one reason I'm in here trying to be a way shower, to show the way for higher thinking and, evolved consciousness. Now, for me, yes, it was super painful to let all this relationship go and let everything go. I had to let everything go in order to create that distance between me, my heart, my soul, and everything they were doing. To individuate, right, is to close off the world. The world does not exist. It is not something I concern myself with ever. No opinions on the world, no judgment on the world. They're allowed to figure it out in their own way. And I can just bless them and move forward in my life without being affected by whether they're doing it right or wrong. You can't change others. You can barely change yourself, right? So focus there on what you can change. I can change me. Yes, I can. Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yes, I can. Because I have changed myself greatly from being a victim of this world and all its chaos to the creator of my world. And there isn't anything in my world that I'm not more powerful than. I'm more powerful than anything. I'm more powerful than the problems in the Middle East. I'm more powerful than anything going on in America politically. I'm more powerful than any disappointment or relationship that you can put in front of me that is problematic. I am more powerful than that. Why? Because I understand that the old way was to worship a god, whereas the new way is to become a god. I know that sounds really big, high-minded, and against everything we've ever been taught. Think of it this way. Your consciousness is a piece of God, right? Just a little chip off the old block. I think everybody can get on board with that idea. And I think that teachers like Jesus Christ, Buddha, whomever, were sent here to be the path forward for us to study how to do that, right? Not to bow down and worship them. That's super weak, right? Don't ever worship anything outside of yourself. Don't. That's not where your power lies, right? So to worship an entity, God or deity that's outside of yourself is to continually take your personal power and place it on another entity. That's not power. Instead, in shamanism, we know that there isn't anything I haven't been. There isn't anything that I can't personally deal with from my own place of personal power, understanding that personal power is your ability to feel bigger than your problems. Most people don't feel bigger than their problems. They don't feel bigger than the Middle East chaos. They don't feel bigger than our political situation in America. They don't feel bigger than the problems that are presented to them. They feel weak, right? And you feel weak because you're constantly giving your power away to things that live outside of you, right? This crappy Facebook post that's like going like this in the background of your mind, right? And your neighbor who's doing this other thing that you're giving power to and giving attention to, right? And you create 1,000 of those other things and you are in chaos. You are in chaos, and that's a choice. To become master and commander of your mind is where all your power lies. And you can't have a powerful mind, right? If all your personal power keeps being sent out into the world with your words and your opinions and your chaos and your anger and your frustration, right? That's not power. We talked about the little master guru in Kung Fu Panda, right? It turns out he's a red panda. Oh, I thought he was some kind of mouse or rat or something. He's a white guy anyways. A little white mousy thing. He's a red panda. Doesn't look like a red panda to me, but anyhow. What's he doing? Every time they show him on the cartoon, what's he doing? He's sitting on his mountaintop and he's doing this. He's associating with his power. He's associating with that which needs to be cured within him because he knows that he cannot cure the world. However, when we begin to cure ourselves, that's the only way to cure the world. When we end our own personal toxicity, right, which has been a huge process for me. I mean, look at how long it's taken me just to stop yelling into the internet. Right? And sending chaos downstream. That was kind of my first lesson in this. It was kind of trying to be a public figure and to try and lead the way on higher thinking. Not that we're trying to get to higher thinking, because ultimately the goal is to abandon thinking, not have higher thinking, but you understand what I'm saying. And so I was becoming really mindful of like the energy that I was sending downstream online. And I kept sending anger and chaos and like triggering others. And I was like, oh God, I can't seem to like stop the habit of being chaotic online and triggering others online because of my own personal held beliefs and righteousness. You gotta let that go. Even justice. No fixing. No fighting. If you're serious about inner peace. Inner peace is the most beautiful thing you can ever grant yourself. It's a gift that you give to yourself that feels so good and is so power charged with solutions, right? In business coaching, we say that opportunity can only be seen by those who believe it is there. So it's the belief. It's the belief that the opportunity is there that allows the opportunity to present itself and be seen, right? It all starts here. Prioritize your daydreaming. Because if you're not seeing it, they won't either. I promise you. But if you can see it, right? See the future image of your life that you're manifesting. That's how it all starts, right? Visualization. Visualize your life. To remember your life forward is to manifest. How you describe your life online, anywhere, to friends. How you describe your life is what you're manifesting. So, let me describe my life. Oh my gosh. Well, I now have my dream job. I mean, my dream job that takes into account all of my special and unique skill sets, both in real estate and in creative process. Okay? Takes the best of those two worlds, real estate and creativity, and puts it together. And we're building sustainable cities all over the world. It's so fun. And I get to sell it and make millions and millions and millions of dollars. So, how you describe your life is what you're manifesting. I'm a best-selling author. Sure, I could focus on the fact that nobody showed up for me in my life. Nobody from my Christmas card list, not one person I ever made a quilt for, not my best friend, nobody. I could focus on that. And I could let that continue to be super painful. But that's giving away my power, right? Giving away my power to something that lives outside of me that I cannot change, i.e. others, right? So by then taking my power back, ending those relationships and saying, well, you clearly have nothing for me. This is not an equal relationship at all. So bye. And I had to ultimately let that all go and realize that I needed to reset my life with new friends, new relationships, new people, new conversations, new situations, right? New places. And so that's what I set out to do. And it is all coming together, right? Nobody with the tools that I have now and the capacity for imagination that I have always had, right? Nobody who has that skill set cannot be not successful in manifesting, right? Because I can imagine it. I can see it. I can remember my life forward. I can remember forward that I'm standing on the red carpet. I can remember my life forward knowing that I'm a movie maker. I can remember my life forward knowing that I'm a millionaire. I can remember my life forward knowing that I'm $1 billion a year talent. Right? I can remember all that. All that has yet to happen, I can remember that. And in doing so, bring it about. We don't think we're that powerful, and yet we are. All you need to know is the rules of the game of how to manifest. Study it like a science. Do the game. It's not difficult. The only thing you have to give up in order to have abundance is lack. Give up your association with lack. There is only perfection until we say otherwise. And the problem is we go around saying otherwise, like all the time. Oh, that's not perfect. That's not perfect. Oh, I definitely don't like that. It's really not perfect, right? And yet, it is. And yet, what we're having an opinion about is that which we have manifested. So we keep manifesting chaos and then having an opinion about it, and then like continuing to this cycle of chaos and things we don't like because we keep talking about things we don't like, right? From the beginning, I've always held a North Star, where I'm going, right? At first, the North Star, remember that it was joy, right? I just wanted to get to joy because I was so depressed and so struggling, and, my health was just troublesome, and I was losing my ability to function in the world. I was losing my ability to work. I was losing my ability to just have the life that I had known. And for that, I am blessed, because dystonia for me didn't show up as a curse. It showed up as the greatest teacher I could have ever asked for. And for that, I am so blessed to the point I wouldn't change it for the world, right? Because it's been my teacher. It's taught me how to have grace in difficult things. It's taught me how to be more human. It's certainly taught me how to be way more compassionate in the world. When I see somebody who is struggling or who doesn't know where to turn or just has no answers and is just desperate, like, I get that feeling. I know that feeling, right? And so I can get in there and I can love them and I can hold them and I can give them encouragement and I can show them a new path forward if they're interested. Having done this healing work long enough, I know that I can't heal others, but I can show them the path forward. I can show them the trailhead. And if they want to do the work themselves, then they can go on their merry way and heal themselves in the same manner that I did. That's what I want for others. That's what I wanted to give away. That's why I was so excited about my books and what I wrote. And I just so badly wanted to give my heart away, but nobody wanted to receive it. At least not anybody that I knew. So, protect your peace. That's the number one rule of the game. Don't get angry. Don't get flustered. Don't engage your attack thoughts. Seriously, monitor your attack thoughts, because that's the ego, right? Anytime the ego's like, rah, that's you, right? Fighting yourself. And ultimately, that was the big change for me, is that, like, nobody's worth it. Nobody is worth the cost of my inner peace. And I will protect that peace at all costs. It doesn't matter who shows up in my life, how chaotic they're being, how crazy, how insane. I'm like, okay, you be crazy over there. That has nothing to do with me. I'm only going to focus here. I'm only going to protect my peace. I'm only going to be focused on my solutions and manifesting and calling into being that which I want, not that which I don't want. So I use my words, right? Like a sound bath. Oh, and it's so great. Using this tool, you can call into being and imbue into your own vibration anything that you need. That which you do not have is that which you have not granted to self. Grant it to yourself. Bring in all the power. Bring in all the blessings. Bring in all the health. Bring in all the wealth. Right? Just keep bringing it in and blessing yourself with your words. When you put your hand on your heart, right? And you can actually feel the vibration of your words in your body. Ooh, that's real change, right? That's you completely changing your entire vibration of your body and the way that it resonates out in the world. That's change. What are you focused on? What are you calling into being? What are you manifesting? Use those words. I am happy. Oh, yes. I am healthy. Yes. I am wealthy, right? And I am wise. And I give myself all the power. I give myself all the gifts. I give myself all the blessings, and I give myself all the love. Because ultimately I kept looking for love in the eyes of others. And when they didn't have any for me, it actually really left me with no other option other than to grant it to myself, because I was so desperate for it. Right? And while that was super painful, oh my gosh, the result is I now know there isn't anything I can't grant to myself. So when I'm hurting, I can grant myself blessings and joy and power. Right? And that's a me thing. It's not up to them to care about me. They got other things going on, right? That's a me thing. That's my job, to bless myself, to encourage myself, to fill myself with love, and to give myself the vibration that I want in my day, every single day. So that's where we are today. I did want to talk very briefly about my books because Journey of a Dark Shaman is like going crazy, and I'm so happy about that. Right? Book 1 is the most important book I have ever written or ever will write, because it's my personal story, right? It's what I survived. And it's what I just wanted my friends to know. I just wanted one friend to know what I survived, right? So that's foreign to me, book 1. Book 2, Broken Like Me, is an exploration of broken people in relationships. And it's ultimately the main character, Jack, finding love. And it's kind of loosely based off of my relationship with my husband. And then the third book is finally out, Made of Me, is dealing with Jack dying, ultimately. And it's the vehicle that I used in order to help myself, grant myself the power when my physical body couldn't function, right? And so that's ultimately the journey found in here. So that's Journey of a Dark Shaman. I'm currently writing Journey of a Light Shaman, which is about halfway written in the entire trilogy. I'm about 3/4 of the way through book 2. And I'm looking for a literary agent. In case anybody knows anyone, please put me in touch, because I can use Journey of a Light Shaman for a literary agent based off of the success of the first trilogy. Then I also have, right, my series, which is Handsome Devils, is book 1. Right? And this is the vehicle that I really use to talk about what is shamanism. How does it work as a daily practice? And it's kind of like Harry Potter, but for gay kids and shamanism instead of magic and straight kids, okay? And because he ends up with all these kids that he has to save from conversion therapy and then teach them how to fight the government, essentially, as powerful shamanic beings. So book 2 is the kids actually becoming awakened, right? And so An Army Awakens is book 2. Book 3 becomes really heady. It's like where all the kids are then starting to actually adjust and change their minds in order to become powerful warriors, right? And so Where the Warrior Lives is book 3. And then finally, I have Christian's Rapture, which takes on a lot of our thoughts about transgender people, as well as gives more for the kids to learn. I have the next book in the series written. I just don't have the money yet to publish it, but that's coming too. So that's all pretty much available on Amazon as well. It's now available on Audible as an audiobook. All 3 books in Journey of a Dark Shaman trilogy are available, as well as the first 2 books in the series. So that's where I am in my writing journey. I also have some quilts for sale. This one is an example of one that I have on Etsy. So my Etsy shop is called The Quilting Cowboy. And so if you're at all in the market for a new quilt, I'm posting a whole bunch of new ones, about 5 quilts I'll be posting today on Etsy, in case you're looking for a unique gift for Christmas or whatever. Anyways, so that's where I am today. I hope that you're doing well. I'm really happy to be back. I'm back from vacation and summer stuff and whatever else. So I will be posting again more regularly. I hope that you're doing well, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.